Hey, welcome, folks, to another edition of What's Going On in the Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeartMedia. And I got the guys in the building. If I look a little weird, yes, my office is cold. And we did pay the rent, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. The building's cold. I got my man Greg Vaughn down in Las Vegas. What up, Greg V?
What's happening? How are you? You look cold, Nate. You look cold.
The office is cold. And I got Ryan Verneuille, aka the Ride Guy, down in the Hamptons, NYC.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Good to be here in Rochester. It's just as cold down here. I feel your pain.
And then we got none other than Minnesota Joe. Say it so. The only black man at the damn protest in Minnesota. I'm trying to figure it out, but he gonna tell us why he was there in -5 degrees. What up, Joseph?
Help, we're being occupied.
So there you go. Speaking of being occupied, welcome to the show today, and we're occupying the airways as we talk about some things sports and some things about society. And I guess the biggest thing this week, Greg, was the fact that Bill Belichick in the sports world did not get into the Hall of Fame on the first round. What say you, ex-athlete 355? Should have gotten the snub or should he have gotten the rub?
I think this is just another example of who's doing the voting because nobody has more chips than this man. Whether you like him, whether he didn't say what you wanted him to say, whether he wasn't the best interview, we have the wrong people voting for people to get in the Hall of Fame. Because if you're going by accomplishments, what he's done on the field, you can go up and down that list. The first ballot guys that have gotten in that can't hold his jock strap. You know what I mean? And for this man to be snubbed it's a disgrace to the sports world. And once again, who's doing the voting? Who is controlling that special place? His body of work says it all. I just think it's disgusting. I think it's a disgrace. I think everything about it is they need to revamp the system. They need to do all of that, right? Because, if he was not a first time lock, nobody
I
is a
don't know
first
who
time lock.
is.
Right?
At the end of the day.
So
But Ryan, let me go to Ryan right quick. Ryan, what's your take on it? And Jill, we're coming back to you.
Well, it looks like Robert Kraft got the rub and Belichick got the snub. No pun intended this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the same guys that would have voted for Belichick instead voted for Robert Kraft. At least that's what they're saying now. The second Hall of Fame electee or elector came forward to say that just the other day. So yeah, it's definitely a disgrace, but it makes me think like what Hall of Fame actually makes sense. From Cooperstown, maybe the basketball one kind of does a little bit more, but there are guys that are voted in that shouldn't be and guys that get snubbed constantly. This is truly disgraceful. Whether or not you hate New England, I can't stand the Patriots. It's like Greg said, the guy has more Super Bowl rings than anybody of all time, and he's able to see success. Hopefully, we'll see how he does on a college level. The guy's still out there coaching at the age that he is. So, yeah, absolutely a disgrace. I know you can mention Spygate and Deflategate, but if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, that's what somebody once said. An athlete I know. Joe, what's your take on it?
I think if the vote hadn't have been anonymous, he would have gotten in. Because nobody would have had the cojones to publicly say, yeah, I voted against him. It's a coward's vote.
Okay. So all right. So despite the image that Belichick projected, all you guys saying he should have been in the Hall of Fame, and I guess
Yeah,
you're
of
right.
course.
But I'm saying, but at the end of the day, like I said, he wasn't the most gracious guy at the
That
interviews.
has
People didn't
nothing
like
to do
that.
with
Wait
it.
a minute. Let me finish because like I had you. I'm just giving you the. I'm being Ryan today. Let me be Ryan today. Okay. And the other side is the optics with the little chick who should be his great granddaughter. So they're looking at all kinds of weird stuff, Ryan, that I think they put into the T not to give him the nod. Just the optics of some stuff. That's just me, Ryan.
Well, it's the same thing with Bonds, even with or without the steroid allegations.
Right.
It's because he rubbed the writers the wrong way. The writers have too much power
Yep.
and they need to be stopped. Anybody, it seems like everybody these days that has too much power needs to be stopped. But what
But
do
but
we, the people, do about it?
but what you just said about Barry Bonds is the same thing. So it's like he wasn't the most endearing, and And Greg, you played during that era. Barry Bonds was a salty cat. He ain't talked to a lot of people unless he wanted to talk to you. He should have been in the Hall of Fame. But at the end of the day, they took that against him because he wasn't the most endearing individual when it came to them asking him about if it wasn't about baseball, Barry wasn't going to be talking about it, Greg.
One thing, Greg, real quick, because this has something to do with you, and I think you'll understand this. Carlos Beltran, who was a part of one of the biggest cheating scandals of all time, just got elected to Cooperstown, and a great baseball player. And all of his greatness really came before he was with the Astros. But I mean, where do you draw the line at this point, Greg?
Hey, like I said, man, I just think they have to do an overhaul of the whole system. I think the system is broken. I think too many people have votes that shouldn't have votes. I think everything else has changed, with the changing of time, right? Has progressed. And I think they have to do the same thing with the system. I think because if you look at it, guys are getting in that. So when you have your peers voting, the committee's voting and they're electing the guys that they played against to get into place, that tells you the system is broke. That, Dave Parker had to be on his deathbed before he got in because someone didn't like the way he spoke or, how, they thought he was arrogant and, he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. So when your peers are getting and voting people in, that says it all because you play the game for your peers, not these sports writers that want to have all this pull and think they have all the say and Stephen A and the rest of them. Your peers at the end of the day, and it's no disrespect to Stephen A. I mean, he has to sell Stephen A, right? And the rest of them. But you're playing for the respect of your peers. And if your peers say you should be in, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. That at the end of the day, that's your body of work. You earn the respect of the people that are out there. You're going to war with, no pun intended, every single day, right? You're playing against these guys and they're voting you in. What difference does it make if a guy's in, I want to say Gary, Indiana, or Sacramento, my hometown, or, Reno, Nevada? I mean, why do those writers have any say on?
But see, that's the fallacy of it all, gentlemen. So why don't these leagues take that back and say, forget your writers, y'all ain't got no daggone votes. The athletes are voting for themselves, and that's it with you characters. So it seems that the leagues placate Joe to the writers. Because at the end of the day, the leagues can say,
what if the athletes then end up doing the same thing? Here's an idea.
But Ryan, can you hear me? I want Joe to answer that question for a second.
What's the question again?
I said, what's the situation in terms of the league saying to the writers, you guys have no more votes?
Well, I think something needs to be done. It's obvious. When you have the winningest coach, Super Bowl ring-wise, in the sport doesn't get voted in the first ballot, something stinks in Denmark. So, yes, there need to be changes.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Now, how's this for an idea? Now, I don't know how they'd qualify a fan voting because you already see elections get rigged no matter what. People, all that, whichever way you want to go. But what if maybe there was some way that you could track fan voters if they maybe watched a certain amount of games, if they found a way to qualify fans to vote? After all, it's also for the fans. And maybe that had some type of sway as well. If we could officially, if a fan qualifies as somebody that should have a say, maybe watch enough games. I see Greg shaking his head. So there's no way.
Please, Greg, say something. Because you're like, hell no. Hell to the no.
Well, I think the fans, they used to have a say in the All-Star game and guys got snubbed all the time, right? Because if you play in big markets, unfortunately, the big markets outweigh, those fans outweigh, the guys in Milwaukee, the guys in Tampa, the guys in Miami who might be having hell of years. You got guys hitting 100 because the fans voted them in starting, right? So I don't like the fan vote.
No,
that's the popularity contest. I think it should be with your peers. You should have a respected, committee, who the peers pick to lead this committee, right? Not who Major League Baseball picks, but who, it should go out, who guys have earned a respect in their field, in their game, and let them, go ahead and, decide who gets in. I think they need to take it away from the voters because, everyone has a podcast like us. Everyone's trying to sell tickets, right? So if they can be controversial, if they can make it about themselves, we're getting away from what it's really about, and that's that special place, with those yellow jackets, man. I mean, Belichick deserves to be there. He should have been. I mean, it should have been a no-brainer. And with that, I know we got to take a break, but yeah, man, we can circle back if you want.
But before we go, I just want to say, how do these athletes get their power back? And that's more to that question too. Okay, there's more in that question. How do athletes say, "Listen, man, I'm tired of being garbage and a piece of meat, and you on the trade block now?" And I know they make a bunch of money. No, don't get me wrong. They make millions of dollars. Don't, because I'm going someplace with this, and we'll go talk about it a little later on in the show. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we got some more football to talk about. Eli didn't get in. Hey,
We better
for
circle back.
Giants fan, huh?
We better circle back.
Okay.
We're gonna get yelled at. We're gonna get yelled at.
We'll be right back. Hey, folks, welcome back to our second edition of What's Going On in the Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and our Heart Media. And we got the guys in the building. This is the Experience. Greg Vaughn is out in Vegas where it's nice and warm. Joe is in Minnesota where he's protesting right on Washington. And we got my man Ryan V down at NYC in the Hamptons. And we were talking about the Hall of Fame of football. And I posed a question. When do the athletes take back their power? And I know they make a lot of money, Joe, because your face, what are you talking about? But say, for example, in the NFL right now, there were 10 or 11 coaching opportunities. Not one black guy got a head coaching job so far. Not one. But the league is 70 to 75% black. Now, I know in a perfect world, I'll get up one morning and there are no black people. It's invisible. Ain't no black folks playing sports. Ain't no black people dancing and singing. Okay? I'm simply saying, when do they take their power and say, you know what? Because when I retire, I might want to coach. And I know I got to go do the good old boys thing, Greg. But when do athletes say enough is enough? I know I make money, but what about my integrity if I want to have another job? I don't think athletes look at social conscious stuff the way they used to, and they just let things go, and it's okay. We'll be all right.
Well, I think it's a sign of the times, right? If you go back over history, how many players talk about guys that were before them? How many talk about Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, Satchel Paige? During our era, I was playing with guys that, they're coaches, and they had something to do with those leagues, right? And the barnstorming and all the rest of it. So I think as we get farther and farther away from those times, it becomes distant history. And like I said, you have billionaires. It's corporate America now. These teams are being ran like corporate America. And if you're not in with the GM and you didn't go to Brown, Harvard, or one of those analytic, those schools as far as analytics, you're probably not going to get the job. I mean, you look at what the administration is doing. They're erasing DEI, whatever that means, because we're not qualified in their minds to get anything or do anything. So this is just another form of blatant racism, right? For guys not to even get a call. And you know what? You said, black people and Joe protesting. I give it up to the people in Minnesota and across the country that have been standing up, because a lot of them don't look like us. They're out there fighting for us and people that don't look like them. So for me, as much as they're trying to erase it, I think it's going to be hard. I think, I'm sure at my country club and where I play golf and the guys I play golf with, some of them only tolerate me because I'm at the country club and I was a baseball player, but I know when they go sit at their table what they're talking about. But hey, I'm gonna sit where I want to sit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make them mad. It is what it is.
So Joe, so I want to bring you in because they got rid of the Minnesota Vikings GM. Now here's the caveat on that, Ryan and Joe. Now they might have drafted Sam Darnold, not Sam Darnold. What's the kid name?
From J.J. McCarthy.
They drafted him, but then both of them got rid of Sam Darnold. So if you're gonna get rid of the GM, get rid of the damn coach, because the coach gonna say, okay, I don't want him. So you can't fire one guy without the other. I'm trying to figure this out. Like, it's the most bizarre thing. You fire the GM because you said the GM made a mistake, but the GM, Joe, got to talk to the coach about the damn players, and the coach still got a job, Joe.
When it comes to drafting, it's a marriage. The coach and the GM. they're like Siamese twins when it comes to the draft. They have to be on the same page. So once again, uh, we can call it racism. Young young brother who, up until this year, I thought did a wonderful job
in
as
Minnesota.
yeah. I mean, he shaped that team. So why get rid of him? And I would like to see the players at least speak out. I haven't
See, that's
heard
what I'm saying. You don't got to strike, but
I
damn
haven't
it,
heard
say
one player say
something.
a word in that
Especially in
locker.
football. Football is the most quietest sport. I mean, you guys don't
I
talk
think
about a
Look what they
damn
did to
thing.
Kaepernick. Like, look what they did to Colin Kaepernick.
Dude, but
How
what
can
I'm
you
saying,
possibly speak out in a place so corporate? You and in a sport where you can get cut for just about anything, you have a bad game, and all of a sudden you're the worst part of your team and the biggest problem with your team. So they set it up to be that way,
but
where you can't do
they
that.
just did the same thing. And like I said, I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, but you picked the team with Brandon Bean, but you fire McDermott, and then you throw the brother under the bus. I forget the dude's name. I saw him on Wegmans one time. They throw him under the bus. Keyshawn or whatever his name, whatever that guy's name.
Coleman.
Coleman. It was a bad draft. I'm like, why are you blaming McDermott and Bean? You were there. You get a damn promotion, Greg. They promote him, fire the coach, throw the players under the bus. Who the hell want to play for a team like that, even when they get in a new stadium, Greg?
Well. Once again, we've seen this whole film before, right? It's just all it's the same thing. Nothing's changed. You think, after civil rights and the way things have been, you would think things would be better, right? Now here we are, 2000. I mean, 250 years later, it's circling back to the way things used to be. And in corporate America, it is what it is, And you spoke about the players, but let's take a little bit further. Look at these corporations that are running the world. Look at the tech companies. Look at the guys that have all the juice and have all the money. I mean, how much more do you need to live on, right? How much more do you need? You're talking about, some companies almost being $1 trillion. How much more money do you need? And they're basically saying, screw the public who helped them, you know, get to this point, right, of success, and saying we're just going to fatten our pockets. We're going to make our pocketbooks as fat as they can be. We want more power and screw everyone else on the planet. It didn't used to be like that, but now. So if they're doing it, take what Ryan said to elaborate on that. These guys still control the players. So if the players, they have that funny little language in there, man, where it says guaranteed money, but if you do X Y Z or say X Y Z or you know you get too far offline, that can all be erased. Take IU for example. You know what I mean? They have those little clauses in there, which probably half the players don't even know about. But Kaepernick was a good example, and all he did was tell the truth. And it was nonviolent. All he did was tell the truth. They don't want the truth to come out. So like I said, until corporate America and until people start, like you said, these protests, Elon Musk had to stop when they hit Elon Musk in his pocketbook, and his shareholders said, "Hey, man, you got to stop all this, right?" And until we do that with corporate America, it's not going to stop. Amazon, I see these trucks coming through the gates nonstop. Until we start hitting Amazon and the rest of them the same way, I take my hat off to Costco. I'll be a Costco lover for the rest of my life. Costco's the only one that's standing up to this administration, right? The rest of them are. I mean, and you have all the power. If they all came together, they have the power over the administration.
But that's the point I was making to you about sports. I understand, and Joe, I'm gonna let you in this. I understand exactly what you're saying. As an athlete and as a fan, you're not gonna come and see B-level players. You're not paying money for them. You want to see sport, but you're not paying money for those guys. You ain't going to the G League. You're not doing it. You ain't even watching the USFL. You're watching the NFL, Joe.
Greg, you said one thing that, and I really like you, brother, but I'm gonna disagree with one little thing. When you said that billionaires are, it didn't used to be that way. And I would say, if you look at history, if you look at the robber barons,
Mm-hmm.
They did the same. Then the Carnegies and the Fords and
The
all of those people
Rockefellers.
did. J.J. Hill here in St. Paul, they did the exact same thing. They dominated. So I don't really think anything's changed. Now instead of millionaires, it's billionaires.
You know what? And I'm gonna say, Joe. You know, if I could react to that statement, I would. I would say it just wasn't played out the way it is now. That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Right.
It wasn't.
Right.
You know, the hate and the way they're playing it out. You know, they might have said it in their little closed doors or in the meeting room or
Right.
on the
Right.
golf course. You know, it was different. But that's what I meant. I didn't mean to make it
Right.
sound like it was not going on because it's always been a difference.
Right.
So I retract.
Yeah.
It's always been a difference, but now they're just playing it out, just like all the hate and the rhetoric. You know,
Right.
for we might have been called the N word, but it might have been in the card room in the back of the country club. Now they're just walking up to your face and saying it, right? And they're just walking because this administration has given them a pass to do so. But it's freedom of speech for them. But now, if we do something and it's freedom of speech, they want to take that away.
Well, when you got a Klansman in the White House, it all goes downhill, right? Yeah, they can say and do whatever because they're not going to pay any kind of a price. They can shoot a man 10 times on camera and not pay a price.
Yep. Hey, we're gonna take another quick break, and when we come back, folks, this is a deep conversation, but it's all part of the social fabric of our society. Sports and things that go around and evolve, and sports are not immune to that. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, Greg, I need you to break down these Major League Baseball trades and updates because I'm trying to figure out where some of these teams are going and what are they doing. So we'll be right back. Fox Sports 1280, iHeartMedia, What's Going On in the Experience, don't go no place. Hey, folks, welcome back to What's Going On in the Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 in Rochester, New York, and iHeartMedia. And Ryan just reminded me, yeah, the NBA is kind of heating up. Last time we kind of checked in, Joe, they was giving me the business because my Knicks had lost 9 out of 11, but I didn't panic. And I think Greg knows that I didn't panic. And usually I'll be like, but I didn't panic. I stayed the course. And for all those guys out there that want to trade for Giannis, and I said this before, stay pat, New York. I'm just saying, man. I know, but Big Cat, leave the Big Cat alone. Don't call him a big kitten like Joe does, okay? Don't do that to the brother. He's not bad at all. The Knicks got chemistry on that team. You break it up, Joe. If you bring in Giannis, he don't even stay healthy half the damn season. Ryan, I wouldn't want Giannis on my team. Let him go to Golden State.
All right,
Let him go to
all right,
State.
Nate, let me ask you this. Would you consider Jalen Brunson a defensive liability?
What do you mean defensive liability? He can play defense. Can he play great defense? Hell no. Can he play
Okay,
defense?
so the answer
Yeah.
is yes. He's pretty much a defensive liability. He's not going to lock anybody down. He's not who you want as somebody to just think about it. But now, do you consider Karl-Anthony Towns a defensive liability? A guy that they're pulling out with 5 minutes left in the game because he can't play defense?
No, I don't, because when they put him in there with Mitchell Robinson together, they do damage.
But for the
Twin
last 5 minutes of
Towers.
the game, you need your best players out on the court. Do you really see the Knicks winning a championship with these two guys playing together?
Yes, I do. I think that this should stand pat. Don't trade nobody. Stand pat. Because you're going to mess around and mess with the chemistry of the team. As much as Joe can't stand the cat, I don't care.
You don't think that Antetokounmpo and Brunson is a better combo and somebody, Antetokounmpo is still a great defender. I know he's hurt his calf and people are worried about the future, but I mean, and to take it over to Joe, you got to see Karl-Anthony Towns in all of his semi-greatness when he was playing in Minnesota. So I mean, what do you think? Somebody that's not a Knicks fan, do you think that if you're the Knicks GM, you're making this trade?
Karl-Anthony Towns has no gravitas.
Tell me how you really feel, Joe.
I'm just saying. That's the reason they got rid of him in Minnesota. I think when it comes down to the get down, I wouldn't count on him.
Okay. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, once again, I know that it might make the Knicks. It's a shakeup and it's rolling the dice, but it's a year that the East is weak. And you put Antetokounmpo onto the Knicks. I mean, who would they give up? Mikal Bridges, I think that the trade rumors are Mikal Bridges and Cat
If I am
Antetokounmpo.
Greg, if I'm Milwaukee, you giving me OG Anunoby. I'm not trading. You giving me. I don't want Cat. I don't want no. You if I'm making a trade with Milwaukee, Greg, you giving me OG because OG gives me two things: offense and defense, and he plays. So if I'm gonna make that trade, and that'll be a dumbass trade for the Knicks, but if I'm Milwaukee, you putting OG in that package, Greg. I'm sorry. What do you think?
I think Milwaukee's in the place to be able to ask for whatever they want to ask for, right? I think, between, the players you just mentioned and draft picks, I mean, you ask, hey, you reach for the stars and see what you get. You see how Boston, they built their team on getting these trades and getting 5 and 6 first-round draft picks. They're still getting first-round draft picks. You know what I mean? It's crazy how, you have a generational player like, the Giannis. I mean, you got to reach for the stars, and you don't take anything less than that, and let it play out where it plays out. But in the end, you're going to have to trade him, or he's going to walk, and you get nothing. So the bottom line, I think he's still signed for 2 more years, isn't he?
Yep.
But he just publicly came out and said he's ready to go to a new city, whereas all year he'd been pretending he actually wanted to be there. Just the other day, he came out and said he's ready to get traded.
Okay, but once again, I mean, they've done everything that he's asked of them. 2 brothers on the roster. We talk about LeBron and his son. He's had 2 brothers on the roster.
Neither one of them can play.
He has 2 brothers on the roster, not the coaching staff, but the roster.
Neither one can play.
And I mean, you got Lillard. It didn't work out. He got hurt. You get, Turner. It's not working. I mean, what else can Milwaukee do? So this is about him having power, but at the same time, if you own the entity and it's your how much power do you give them? You got to think about it that way too. If you are the boss and you are the owner, I mean, you've done everything you can, and I just think it is a publicity wooing, so to speak, to show the people of Milwaukee and Bucks fans that we've done everything and we're trying to accommodate him. So this is, he's tied our hands. And
okay, so Joe, I have a concept that 2 gentlemen discarded, and I call it rotating the campsite. So, okay, if Milwaukee gonna rotate the campsite and get completely out of the Giannis business and basically start from scratch, that's what they're doing. Okay, so they're trying to start from scratch, Joe, and I kind of understand that. But at the end of the day, it's like the NFL draft that's coming up, and it's like when you pick a quarterback, because somebody out there is waiting for Zach Wilson to mature. Yeah, don't let that sink in for a second. Okay. And what that simply means is the Jets be making all kind of first round quarterback picks. They go someplace else. So I'm just saying, and I'm gonna defer to the athlete on the panel. It's like sometimes they don't work out at the beginning, okay, but they work out in the middle and in the end. I'm saying Giannis is he's still got good years left, but I think his good years will be better playing with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler as opposed to coming to the Knicks, Joe. What do you think?
You a fan, man?
I am, but I don't want to see him on the Knicks. I just don't want to see him on the Knicks.
I don't get it.
Crazy.
I don't understand it. As Greg said, he's a generational talent.
I get it, man.
Nate, he would be the best New York Knick maybe in the history of the New York Knicks.
If you don't win nothing,
if he won a chip in a city that I don't want to insult Milwaukee. We do have a Milwaukee legend here in the building. He won a chip in Milwaukee. I'm sorry, and if you were to take Antetokounmpo, he's probably a top 5. Basketball player in the last 20 years. The guy's skill set, there's really nobody else like him. He's still that good. He's still in his prime. You could take Antetokounmpo and put him on the Knicks, and he might even, we got Aaron Judge here, but he'd be one of the kings of New York immediately. We've never had such a supreme talent. You could say Karl-Anthony, but all he could do is score. Antetokounmpo's still got it going on. If you're a Knicks fan, you should pray that the Bucks give it up because, like you said, they're looking to build the future. It just doesn't, to me, really make sense for the Bucks to trade for Cat.
Like I said, if you ain't gonna give me what OG give me, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I love how that guy lays it all on the floor. And I'm not saying that Giannis is gonna do that, but you're gonna mess up the chemistry of your team.
But
Whoa,
okay, but Nate, at the same time, sorry, Joe, but
whoa.
Nate, you're going to get a chance to have both of them. So you're talking about guys, you don't have to bring Robinson in to get rebounds now. I mean, Robinson's going to play, his minutes get cut down, so he's going to be more effective, right? Now you got someone you don't have to take out of the game. He gives you offense, defense, and besides Brunson, now you got two guys that can get a bucket anytime they want one. Anytime they want one, they can get a bucket. And on the defensive force, now that rim is protected. You don't have to take Cat out. You got your starting power forward patrolling. I mean, that paint. You know what I mean? That goal right
Yeah,
now.
Joe. Yeah, Joe.
You
Tell me-
keep OG and you get Giannis.
I
Think
can deal with
about
that. I can deal with that.
Well,
I
who
just
said
don't want
who said anything about giving up OG?
because if you're Milwaukee, you ain't gonna just want no Cat. You just
No.
you ain't.
It's
Ryan,
going to have
help
to be
me
a
out.
three-way trade. I mean, there's no way that Milwaukee is going to give up Antetokounmpo for Cat because there's going to be someone else that gives them
you
a
give
better
up
offer.
other players and a draft choice or two.
No, you draft choices. You're going to have to get like 3 or 4
Right.
first round.
Oh
picks.
yeah.
But
Well,
what I'm
you
saying
do
though
that.
to you, if I'm Milwaukee and I need to have, even if I'm starting over, but I need at least a player of that magnitude, I'm asking you, you're gonna give me OG in that trade, or you're gonna give me Josh Hart.
I'll give
I'm
you
gonna
Josh Hart.
break up the Knicks. You're gonna
I'll
give me
give you
OG
Josh
and Josh Hart. If I gotta make a trade and I'm Milwaukee and I gotta give you Giannis
I'll give you Cat, Josh Hart, and draft choices, and I'd be happy to be the Knicks management.
If I was Milwaukee and I'm asking for that trade, I'm asking for 4 or 5 first round picks, and you throw in whoever you want. And I don't have any money on the books, and let's go play ball.
And
And
remember,
you know what?
the Knicks, I'm pretty sure, have traded most of their first-round picks away, right? Don't the Nets have most of the first-round picks for that horrible Mikal Bridges trade?
Yep.
So it's like, what do you really have to hold on to? So Knicks fans, I hate to say it, but you might want to keep dreaming.
No, but you know what, too? They'll, how do I say this? Like, sort of defer them. So they'll get like picks in, 2030 to 35.
Right?
Yeah, exactly, Greg. And like, do the Knicks really want to give that up? I mean, look, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm doing it. If you can get, like you said, deferred picks that far out.
Yeah.
And he's still on the, in the middle of the highlight of his career. And like I said, he's right in the middle. Unfortunately, as you get older, your legs go and you start to get these soft tissue things, but hopefully they can get that, worked out. But other than that,
All right,
I
folks.
think if you're the Knicks and you want championships, you make the deal now, and the Knicks fans will forget about all them draft picks they gave up when they have championship banners in the building.
We already got one. Clyde twice. I'm not tripping. I'm old.
No, you trip every week. You trip every week.
We won already. I seen it. We're gonna take a quick break, and I'm not tripping. Like Element, we'll be right back. Fox Sports 1280. We're gonna talk a little bit more on some sports, and we're gonna talk about Minnesota too. We'll be right back. Don't go no place. Hey, welcome, folks. We're back for our final segment of what's going on in the experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeartMedia. But I want to give a shout out to a young brother from Rochester playing for Kansas, Melvin Council Jr. And he's spanking him. I didn't even think he was that nice. His daddy was good, but he outplaying his father like leaps and bounds, Joe. Have
He's
you seen the
hitting
kid play?
three-pointers.
Huh?
He is hitting 3-pointers when that was not part of his repertoire before.
At all, Joe. And it's so funny.
Love the fact he's at Kansas. So yeah.
But here's the funniest part about, we got Rochester people sprinkled all out the NBA. We just talked about, but I got to say this right. Isaiah Stewart bringing back the bad boys in Detroit, and Thomas Bryant is on somebody's damn bench. I forget, and after he already got a chip. So Rochester is doing their thing when it comes to basketball. Speaking of doing that thing, I'm gonna go to you, Greg, first. I know the 49ers lost. I said this maybe 6-7 weeks ago. You can go look on the tape. I called Seattle. I'ma still stay with Seattle. I think they're the Legion of Boom Part 2. My brother, that defense, that front four, What say you, Mr. 355?
It hurts me to say this. I'm a realist also. And for me, Seattle's the best team in the NFL. I mean, when you were saying that, I knew we were in trouble, but we were too decimated. I mean, dude, like I said, John Lynch had to pull Larynx, Shanahan. I think he had tennis elbow from changing lineup so much. I just think, the 49ers, that I'm proud of the season they had. I think Kyle Shanahan, to me, did the best job of coaching in the whole NFL. I mean, if you take away who he lost, the magnitude of injuries from Purdy to left tackle to Warner to Bosa to backup on top of backups playing, you know what I mean? I just think, and no wide receiver, zero wide receivers, and Kittle. I mean, I just think, we didn't have, not going into Seattle the way they're playing right now, we didn't have a chance. And I think Seattle, hey, I love to see it, man. It's good for the game to see teams, rebuild and circle back, and it's good. But I think Seattle is the best team in the NFL.
So
For
I
so
want to
long
say
everyone's
thank
talking about
you.
the Rams, but these teams better start kicking field goals, man. You
That's what
better
I was
get
going to
your
say. First
points.
of all, I want to say thank you to Minnesota and Joe for getting rid of Sam Darnold and the Jets think. But I think athletes get that second win and they go someplace else. Okay, Joe. So what do you say, Joe, about what's happening now? New England is back on top a little bit. They got a pretty good defense, and I don't know if it's going to be a blowout or not. But what do you think, Joseph?
The beauty of sports are the stories. The stories. There can't be a better story than a top draft choice coming out of college who stunk up the joint in two or three organizations where everybody thought he was dead. He was almost a joke. He comes to Minnesota, transforms his game, and now he's playing for a Super Bowl. That's a hell of a story. You couldn't write a movie script any better than that.
It started in
Okay.
San Francisco, Joe. It started in San Francisco, then Minnesota. Kyle
That's right on the
Shanahan.
bench.
No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right because he talked about that. He talked about what he learned under Shanahan in San Francisco.
You know what? And this is something we talked about before, Nate. I'm circling back to the beginning of the season when we were talking about the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, these coaches are so stubborn. They don't draft guys and keep them at their skill set. They draft them and change them. And more often than not, it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Until these guys have seen it, they're mature enough to handle it and and to understand it. I just think you have to draft. For me, I'm drafting players that fit my system. You know what I mean? I'm not drafting players to change all of them. We might have to, polish some things, but you draft players that fit your system. And I think that's why Kyle Shanahan has a good track record because his system fits a lot of guys. You know what I mean? It's it. But you take your kid that went to Indianapolis, Joe. I mean, he can't see the field. You know what I mean? Great athlete, but now you want to make him a pocket pass. He's not a pocket passer. Let You take Lamar, you give him weapons, and then you say stand in the pocket. All the rest of the league is saying thank you very much. That we don't have to worry about that other aspect. Thank you very much.
Well, this goes back out, Ryan, to what you just said, Greg. Coaching, right? I watched that Denver game. I don't care. Sean Payton is an idiot. He's stupid. He should even be coaching. He's an asshole. And a lot of
That's
these,
a
I'm,
New
I'm,
York
I'm
fan.
gonna keep it a
That's
buck.
a New Yorker.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. A lot of these coaches are assholes because they go with that analytics. Well, it says if I'm on the 30-yard line and I got 1 yard to go, I'll go for the fourth. Now kick the damn field goal. One thing about Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick, kick the field goal. Play
Take your
the rest of the
points.
game. Take the semi-automatic points.
And I
This
tell you
whole
what, as much as they
notion,
love Dan Campbell, as much as
this
they
whole,
love Dan Campbell, as
but
much as they
I
love Dan
don't, I
Campbell,
don't agree with him
Dan
either,
Campbell leaves,
dude.
he leaves 15 to 20 points on the board every single game, and
Every
they lose
every
by
so
and he loses by
all the
1 or 2
guys who
points.
do that 4th and 1, that tush push, unless you got a front line or you got big ass Josh Allen, Joe, pushing along with you, it's a moot point. take the points. And I think
You're going for 4th
now,
and 3. It was 4th and 3. He went for a 4th and 3 with a backup quarterback.
Crazy. And it would have changed everything. If they were up 10-0 at that point, it would have changed everything. And then he fires his offensive coordinator, which I found interesting.
It kills the morale too. Your defense plays its ass off. You get a
Go on, man.
turnover. You get down there, and we're going to take 0 points instead of taking 3 points. That's a plus. Plus minus, that's a plus. But we get 0. And all these coaches are doing it. But like I said, man, you can't eliminate
and I'm gonna go way
human,
back to one more
the
thing.
human
And I'm gonna
element.
get to Joe. I'm gonna go
The
way
human
back
element.
because I called Pete Carroll an asshole too when he tried to throw the ball, because I think that was a fix that game. There's no way in the planet you get a ball, don't get a ball to Marshawn Lynch. So some of these dudes out, they in their own heads. And when you're in your own head, you think you're the man, you mess up by just doing fundamentally sound stuff, Joe. We got 4 minutes to go, but I got to get to Joe right quick.
Okay,
It's
but you know what?
the God complex.
I'm sorry.
They make it about themselves. They make it about themselves instead of the team. Even if you call that pass play, if I'm the quarterback, I'm Oliver to beast mode. You're getting this goddamn ball.
Oh, yeah. Because he wanted to look like he made this genius coaching decision, and it cost him the Super Bowl. Despicable.
But speaking of things that are despicable, Joe, we got a few minutes, man. Give us, I mean, you in Minnesota, you're at the protest. Give us an update of what's going on. Don Lemon got arrested. Folks are just, it's not good. Rochester's a sanctuary city too. I've seen ICE in Walmart, in Tops. I seen them. They here.
Well, and I have to be brief because the time is limited, but when you have a president who is a totalitarian, because what fascists do is they do two things in common. They lie and they kill. And that's what's going on in the Twin Cities. Think about this. If they were really after illegal immigrants, the two states that have the most illegal immigrants are Texas and Florida. They're red states.
Preach.
Those people voted for Donald Trump. In Minnesota, not only did we not vote for him, but our governor ran as vice presidential candidate against him. We got Somalis up here. We got Hmong up here. We got Latinos. It's the perfect place for sick Donald Trump to seek revenge and punishment, except they've underestimated us.
It's exactly what it is. It's revenge. And he said he was going to do it. I remember he said he's going to get back at everybody. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And yeah, at this point, what do we do?
And you resist. If you look at the resistance up here, and I was telling Nate this the other day, and most people don't know this, and shame on the national news media for not doing this. Do you know what the Democratic Party in Minnesota is called? Any of y'all? What their name is?
Go ahead, Joe.
It's the DFL, Democrat Farm Labor Party. That's their official name. They adopted, because you have so many Scandinavians here, they actually adopted a socialist platform, but they won't say socialist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all about the government supporting their people. That the whole philosophy of this part of the country was passed on to FDR. His New Deal was based on what they were doing in Minnesota and Wisconsin. With LaFollette.
Do you believe that life is sacred, or is that only when it matters to you politically? Because anybody that saw the last two people that were murdered on video, if like the government, George Orwell said it best, they tell you to not believe your eyes and ears.
Right.
And let's see how long that lasts in America.
But we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. This is how we get in trouble. So we gotta go. We're gonna come back again with some more stuff. As a matter of fact, Ryan want to do the after show too. So these are the conversations that we're gonna have in our after show. I just want to say thank you guys so much for another phenomenal show. Greg V, Mr. 355, you're down there in Vegas. Ryan, you're over there in the Hamptons. And Joe, please stay warm in Minnesota, okay? And stay out of the fray. Now, back in the day, they used to use rubber bullets. They ain't doing that no more. Until next week, God spares our lives. See ya.